2 Kings, chapter 8. And Elisha spoke to the woman whose son he had revived, saying, Rise and go, you and your household, and sojourn where you sojourn. For Yahweh has called for a famine, and also it is coming to the land for 7 years. And the woman rises and does according to the word of the man of God, and goes, she and her household, and sojourns in the land of the Philistines for 7 years. And it comes to pass at the end of 7 years, that the woman turns back from the land of the Philistines, and goes out to cry to the king for her house and for her field. And the king is speaking to Gehazi, servant of the man of God, saying, Please recount to me the whole of the great things that Elisha has done. And it comes to pass he is recounting to the king how he had revived the dead. And behold, the woman whose son he had revived is crying to the king for her house and for her field. And Gehazi says, My lord, O king, this is the woman, and this is her son, whom Elisha revived. And the king inquires of the woman, and she recounts to him. And the king appoints a certain eunuch to her, saying, Give back all that she has, and all the increase of the field, from the day of her leaving the land, even until now. And Elisha comes to Damascus, and Ben-Hadad, king of Aram, is sick. And it is declared to him, saying, The man of God has come here. And the king says to Hazael, Take a present in your hand, and go to meet the man of God. And you have sought Yahweh by him, saying, Do I revive from this sickness? And Hazael goes to meet him, and takes a present in his hand, even of every good thing of Damascus, a burden of 40 camels. And he comes in and stands before him, and says, Your son, Ben-Hadad, king of Aram, has sent me to you, saying, Do I revive from this sickness? And Elisha says to him, Go, say, You certainly do not revive, seeing that Yahweh has showed me that he surely dies. And he sets his face, indeed, he sets it until he is ashamed. And the man of God weeps. And Hazael says, Why is my lord weeping? And he says, Because I have known the evil that you do to the sons of Israel. You send their fortifications into fire, and you slay their young men with sword, and you dash their sucklings to pieces, and you rip up their pregnant women. And Hazael says, But what is your servant, the dog, that he does this great thing? And Elisha says, Yahweh has showed me you, king of Aram. And he goes from Elisha, and comes to his lord, and he says to him, What did Elisha say to you? And he says, He said to me, You certainly recover. And it comes to pass on the next day, that he takes the coarse cloth, and dips it in water, and spreads it on his face, and he dies, and Hazael reigns in his stead. And in the 5th year of Joram, son of Ahab, king of Israel, and Jehoshaphat is king of Judah, Jehoram, son of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, has reigned. He was a son of 32 years in his reigning, and he has reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. And he walks in the way of the kings of Israel, as the house of Ahab did, for a daughter of Ahab was to him for a wife. And he does evil in the eyes of Yahweh. And Yahweh was not willing to destroy Judah for the sake of his servant David, as he said to him, to give a lamp to him, to his sons, for all the days. In his days Edom has revolted from under the hand of Judah, and they cause a king to reign over them. And Joram passes over to Zair, and all the chariots with him, and he himself has risen by night, and strikes Edom that is coming around to him, and the heads of the chariots, and the people flee to their tents. And Edom revolts from under the hand of Judah until this day. Then Libnah revolts at that time. And the rest of the matters of Joram, and all that he did, are they not written on the scroll of the chronicles of the kings of Judah? And Joram lies with his fathers, and is buried with his fathers in the city of David, and his son Ahaziah reigns in his stead. In the 12th year of Joram, son of Ahab, king of Israel, Ahaziah, son of Jehoram, king of Judah, has reigned. Ahaziah is a son of 22 years in his reigning, and he has reigned 1 year in Jerusalem. And the name of his mother is Athaliah, daughter of Omri, king of Israel. And he walks in the way of the house of Ahab, and does evil in the eyes of Yahweh, like the house of Ahab, for he is son-in-law of the house of Ahab. And he goes with Joram, son of Ahab, to battle, with Hazael, king of Aram, and Ramoth-Gilead. And the Arameans strike Joram. And Joram the king turns back to be healed in Jezreel of the wounds with which the Arameans strike him in Ramah, in his fighting with Hazael, king of Aram. And Ahaziah, son of Jehoram, king of Judah, has gone down to see Joram, son of Ahab, in Jezreel, for he is sick.